has to leave at maximum 10:20. Sandro GOZI.
Okay, we move on to the agenda item 12, debate on the EU-UK relationship, perspectives for regional and local cooperation, future of the EU budget. We have our guests here today. I will welcome Sandro GOZI, co-chair of the European Union United Kingdom Parliamentary Partnership Assembly, as well as the UK counterparts of our working group, Core UK. And because he also has to leave in time, so I'll give you the floor. If I was looking for you. You're here. Thank you for coming. I will give you the floor now for 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Merci, Madame la Présidente, et merci à vous toutes et tous pour cette invitation. Les sommets Union européenne et Royaume-Uni du 19 mai prochain va se développer et va se tenir dans un climat totalement différent de ce qu'on avait connu dans les dernières années dans les relations entre Union européenne et Royaume-Uni. Et du point de vue qui est le nôtre c'est celui de l'Assemblée parlementaire euro-britannique que j'ai l'honneur de coprésider pour l'Union européenne. Il est fondamental de travailler sur une approche qui est une approche en deux parties, si vous voulez. Tout d'abord, il faut mettre en œuvre pleinement et de façon efficace ce que nous avons déjà décidé avec les Britanniques, les traités de coopération et de commerce, les accords de Windsor, parce que tout d'abord, nous l'avons longuement négocié, maintenant nous voulons les voir appliqués, mais secondo, c'est aussi la meilleure façon de construire cette base de confiance mutuelle qui doit nous servir à partir de lundi prochain pour rentrer dans une nouvelle phase dans les partenariats euro-britanniques, une nouvelle phase très importante si on regarde à la géopolitique, si on regarde à ce qui se passe dans notre continent et si on regarde ce qui se passe plus en général à l'échelle mondiale. Donc évidemment, nous allons travailler énormément avec les Britanniques dans les mois et les années qui viennent sur la sécurité, sur la défense. Nous allons insister pour que les engagements pris et l'engagement aussi de résoudre les questions encore ouvertes, je pense à la pêche, je pense à l'énergie, l'engagement soit respecté. Ça va être une partie très importante du sommet et c'est une partie très importante de la recommandation que notre Assemblée a adoptée en vue de ce sommet les 17 mars. Mais je crois que dans la nouvelle phase, et c'est pour cela que je vous remercie de votre invitation, nous devons travailler sur les grands absents. Et les grands absents, la grande absente, c'est la dimension territoriale et régionale de la relation euro-britannique. Ce qui est doublement un problème, tout d'abord parce que on ne peut pas concevoir une relation avec un grand pays européen qui a la spécificité d'être un ancien État membre de l'Union européenne sans regarder à la dimension régionale et locale. Et le deuxième problème, c'est que les collectivités locales et régionales de l'Union européenne, une bonne partie des collectivités locales et régionales de l'Union européenne sont en première ligne et souffrent en première ligne des conséquences du Brexit. Et pourtant, dans l'accord de coopération et de commerce qui est aujourd'hui sur la table, qui est existant, il n'y a rien, pratiquement rien, sur la dimension qui nous intéresse dans ces débats aujourd'hui. Et c'est un problème aussi parce que nous le savons bien, vous le savez bien, les maires, les présidents des régions, et que les effets du Brexit ont été asymétriques. Il y a des régions portuaires, par exemple, ou en général les régions du nord et de l'est de l'Europe, je pense à Calais, je pense à Zeebrugge, je pense à Kent, ont subi de plein fouet les perturbations logistiques, la chute des échanges, les surcoûts douaniers et la fragmentation des chaînes de valeur. Et nous ne parlons pas pour les régions dans lesquelles la pêche est une partie très importante de l'économie locale et territoriale. Je pense par exemple au pays où je suis élu. Donc il y a des chocs encore plus sévères pour les collectivités portuaires et maritimes. Il y a aussi un arrêt brutal que nous n'avons pas choisi. Il faut toujours rappeler que ce n'est pas nous que nous avons choisi que les Britanniques sortent. C'est les Britanniques qui ont décidé de nous quitter. Je crois qu'ils les regrettent aujourd'hui, mais ça, ce n'est plus le débat pour nous. Mais ceci a amené à un arrêt brutal des programmes qui étaient très importants pour la coopération territoriale. Je pense à Interreg, je pense à Erasmus+, je pense aussi à l'Europe créative. Ce sont des partenariats qui se sont interrompus et qui avaient des dynamiques fructueuses dans la culture, la recherche, l'enseignement. Donc je crois qu'il faut travailler pour relancer aussi cette dimension et aussi je crois donc qu'il faut ajouter si vous voulez une profondeur territoriale à la relation euro-britannique du moment où on rentre dans cette nouvelle phase à partir de lundi prochain. Laissez-moi seulement rappeler deux choses en terminant. La première, que nous avons aussi des instruments nouveaux dans l'Union européenne et je veux remercier les comités des régions pour m'avoir soutenu en tant que rapporteur sur les règlements Bridge for You, un pont pour l'Europe. Vous savez que c'est un instrument qui élimine les obstacles à la coopération transfrontalière et qui peut s'appliquer aussi aux pays tiers. Donc le Bridge for You peut s'appliquer dans la relation que nous allons construire avec les Britanniques et l'autre dimension, c'est travailler beaucoup plus sur Interreg, sur la dimension internationale d'Interreg pour qu'on puisse organiser une nouvelle relation de ce point de vue aussi avec nos amis du Royaume-Uni. Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Mr. GOZI. We have our working group, which is led by Card van Leuven, and I will give you the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Mr. GOZI. So, in times of turbulence across the world, it would be nonsensical not to have close cooperation with the UK, and this is why we welcome the new and more positive engagement between the UK and the European Union. This should not only be a member state level, but also between regions, nations and local governments across the European Union and the UK. I would like to thank Sandro GOZI as co-chair of the EU-UK Parliamentary Partnership Assembly for outlining to the COR plenary the PPA's work and also the hopes for the future. We would encourage more cooperation between our COR UK contact group and also the PPA, with the focus on the regional perspective. We firmly agree that the reset will enable us to respond with strength and unity to common geopolitical challenges and bolster our collective security. Nonetheless, we need strong and effective EU-UK cooperation that is rebuilt from the bottom up and pervades all levels of society. With this in mind, we promote the allocation of a stronger and more meaningful role for local and regional authorities within reset negotiations and an increased focus on regenerating cross-border links at local level. Restoring EU-UK relations requires a comprehensive understanding of how the needs and views of local communities on both sides have evolved since Brexit. It is therefore essential that local and regional voices are involved in a multi-level approach to forging EU-UK cooperation that transcends national-level exchanges. By meaningful including the involved governments throughout the negotiation process and promote exchange between local communities, we can strengthen our macro and regional level ties to create a robust foundation for sustainable cooperation. The aim of the COR UK Contact Group is to engage in dialogue among regional governments. The Contact Group will continue to facilitate dialogue and partnerships between local and regional. Maintaining personal contacts at the community level remains a critical yet challenging part of the reset process. I would like to welcome our colleagues and friends from all the UK nations here today, and I look forward to continued engagement with them over the coming months and years. My region, Flanders, has a proud and long-standing history of cooperation and trade with the UK, and we are fully aware of the damage that Brexit has caused. By reinforcing structured engagement and reciprocal exchanges at the local and regional levels, notably through the strategic use of the contact group, we can establish a robust and forward-looking framework for renewed cooperation. This locally driven approach will enhance our collective resilience and showcase the benefits of cross-border collaboration. Now is the time to reaffirm our commitment to a shared European future by building partnerships founded on mutual respect, trust and a common ambition for prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will ask everyone to please keep the time frame because we will not finish in time today. We have two guests today from United Kingdom representatives of local and regional authorities. I will give the floor first to Mr. Davies. I don't know where to look. The floor is yours.
Can I say what a real pleasure and thank you. Can I say what a real pleasure and privilege it is to speak with you as friends today. I look forward to a day when you will hear our voices and our accents more often in this chamber. Let me say this. Our friends who have spoken already are absolutely right. There is regret in Britain, there's regret in the Labour Party, and there's regret across the whole of our islands at what has happened in the last few years. In this chamber, generations of Europeans have worked together on the greatest peace project in history. Now is the time to deepen that collaboration, to deepen that cooperation, to deepen that friendship, not to tear it apart. Now is the time to work harder. Now is the time to work more closely. Now is the time when we need to build bridges and not borders. Now is the time when we need to reach out and shake hands with friends, to work together, to build together, to create a future together. Yes, that partnership will be built, but let's also put down new routes to ensure that the disaster of Brexit is not repeated ever again, because Brexit isn't simply about what happens in this chamber and in this city. It's about austerity and political failure. And we know there is political failure across our continent today. And that is why, where we live, in our towns, our cities, our regions, our communities, we all have an equal responsibility to ensure that the disaster of Brexit is put behind us, and that when we build a new European future in this, our European home, you will hear our accents. Mi fyddwch chi'n glywed ein llais ac ein iaith ni hefyd. The Welsh language is a European language, one of the oldest European languages, part of the same civilization that we all share. Let us today not simply begin a dialogue, but create a new future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The floor goes now to our other invited guest from the UK, Shona Morrison.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Shona Morrison, President of the Local Government Association in Scotland, who of course did not vote for Brexit. Can I welcome this debate and put on record our gratitude to the Committee of Regions for its continued interest and support in working with the local and regional authorities in the UK. I was pleased for my association, COZI, to host the last meeting of the Committee of Regions UK contact group at our offices back in Edinburgh in November. We are keen to show our continued commitment in Scottish local government to maintaining political dialogue and positive EU relations. 5 years on, we are still working to fully understand new trading arrangements as well as legal and economic consequences. So we are glad that work with UK regional and local authorities through the contact group will continue in the new mandate and meet later today. The contact group has proved useful and is so important given that there is no formal role for local government in the TCA institutional frameworks. I remain positive about the UK Government's reset in EU relations and hope that next week's summit will result in an ambitious agreement. Like many of you, we want to see more effective multi-level governance which strengthens local autonomy, decentralisation and governance at the level closest to citizens. And so we remain committed partners in subsidiarity. Thank you again to colleagues here at the Committee of Regions. While leaving the EU has brought many challenges, our values remain the same. We will continue to adapt to new circumstances together as Europeans. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming today. Hope to see you more in the future. Now I will give the floor to our members first, and please everybody keep the time. Carlos Carvalho.
Good morning, Madam President, my dear friend Katatutu, dear members of the European Parliament. Thank you, Mr. GOZI, for your presence in here. And let me give a special compliment to Mr. Davis and to Madame Morrison. Nowadays, sometimes we had to be political correct and we take more warm tones. Sometimes the speeches must be hardened, so congratulations for the speech, Mr. Davis. Today I speak here on behalf of the EPP Group on a topic that remains vital to the prosperity of resilience of communities from both sides of the Channel, European Union and United Kingdom regional and local collaboration. Since the United Kingdom left the European Union, much attention has focused on the national level negotiations and trade arrangements. But today, the EPP Group wants to highlight an equal important arena of cooperation, the relationships between the regions, the cities and the local governments from both sides. In the Committee of Regions, we have taken the clear position that the agreements lack territorial depth, as they do not formally recognise the role of the local and regional authorities in those relationships. The lack of involvement in the governance of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement is problematic because the territorial impacts are not taken into account, either in the agreement's implementation and in its monitoring. Some concrete indications of those problems are the discussion of the most local fisheries managed aspects remain at the highest level, excluding the local stakeholders and the local and regional authorities. Lack of transparency on some discussions before the annual European Council on the Trade and Cooperation Arrangements and Quotas in December, and difficulties for the local and regional authorities to react in case of non-respect of the agreement, as the example of the sewage management. However, the challenges and opportunities facing our communities remains the same. Whether it's addressing climate change, revitalizing post-industrial towns, or managing migration, including tackling illegal migration, the local actors remain at the forefront. I appeal to you, as chair of the delegation of the United Kingdom, to include us in your work and keep us in mind that you speak of the parliamentary dimension of those relations. In the past, we had a great collaboration with the Parliamentary Partnerships Assembly, and we kindly ask you to do your best to continue this reality in those mandates. Cities and regions are interested in concrete cooperation, not in ideology. So what does regional and local collaboration look like today? Organizations such as Congress of Local and Regional Authorities, Eurocities and the Assembly of European Regions still provides platforms for dialogue. Furthermore, city diplomacy is becoming a crucial tool. Mayors and local leaders are stepping up to maintain international ties, engage in peer learning and lobby for shared interests, reality that we even try to implement in small municipalities like our in Taguaçu and in small countries like Portugal. This reality is taking form in multiple examples. Just think on the renewed twinning agreement in Liverpool and Dublin, and the cooperation between North Rhine-Westphalia and the region of Manchester City. We are seeing collaboration around sharing best practices, managing ports, improving energy efficiency in housing, and adapting to climate change. Those are the areas where local expertise and proximity to the issue make the real difference. Just in that way, we can have different solutions for different realities. The success of the United Kingdom and the European Union relationship will be judged by its impact on the ground, in the day-to-day and the lives of citizens, the workers, the students and the economy. Thank you very much.
Obrigada, Carlos. Now the floor goes to Fawzia Talhawi.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear President, dear co-chair of the PPA, dear colleagues, despite the propagated ideas behind Brexit, both the United Kingdom and the EU have every interest in the closest possible cooperation, and the global context is showing us every day that we have to stand together in an increasingly unstable world. We have always said, and I will repeat it, we all, including many in the UK, regret the decision of a small majority of UK voters for Brexit. Despite this, the UK remains an inextricable part of Europe and as such a close partner, and maybe one day it will come back where it belongs, in my view. In the meantime, we have to create all possible opportunities for our regional and local authorities to work together to build trust and understanding between our citizens, for cultural, scientific and educational institutions to collaborate and business to trade. I come from Flanders, from the province of Antwerp. We always looked across the North Sea and to Britain and Ireland, both as a neighbour and as a global maritime gateway. Napoleon knew it, Churchill knew it, so did the Nazis and also their allied counterparts. Antwerp is a doorway to Europe for the UK and for Europe to the UK. Flanders always has had and still has the closest of ties with the UK, but we feel the negative impact of Brexit in our daily lives. Products gone from the shops, Scottish raspberries perishing in Scotland's rich fields, UK exporters hindered by administrative red tape, both sides of the UK-EU border. Remarkably, the large corporations, oil and energy, car manufacturers haven't been affected that much. It's the private individuals, small and medium-sized businesses that have suffered. Special Belgian beers are hard to get in the UK. Scientists have difficulties meeting conferences. Care staff being denied residency in the UK even after 10 years or more living and working in the NHS, families ripped apart. We believe that openness and exchange are what makes Europe strong. Another reason why Brexit was the wrong solution, based on false perceptions about migration. Of course, we must organise migration in an effective way that benefits both migrants and their hosts and protects refugees. Closing borders is not a solution. Hadrian's Wall didn't work, the Iron Curtain didn't work, Brexit has failed to increase control of the borders. As a new member of my political group for the core EU-UK contact group, I want to use this opportunity to highlight the need to involve regions and cities in the real reset for EU-UK relations. With the Labour government, we hope that substantial progress will happen at the EU-UK summit next week to allow the exchanges we used to have, and not just limited to trade, but for research, education, culture, and to provide security and opportunities to our citizens. Speaking of education, I want to emphasise another point. The example of educational exchanges shows again that if there are no clear mutual frameworks and financial support, then inequality increases and hits those the hardest who can least afford it. Of course, young people will continue to go to the UK to learn the language of Shakespeare and study, and I hope more people from the UK will come to the EU to do the same. But right now, the ability to do so depends more than ever on individual privilege and having a wheelbarrow of money. But we need to create opportunities, especially for young people
wrap up.
From privileged backgrounds will not have this chance unless there is a properly funded youth mobility scheme. Cooperation in the labour markets, in research, in defence, which we all want between the EU and the UK, depend on young people who as students may have had the chance to get to know each other. This is crucial for our competitiveness, for our ability to reach common goals, for our ability to collaborate, and we need to start at the local and regional levels. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. GOZI. We'll have to leave soon. If you don't respect time, then you don't respect each other. François de Coster.
Merci Madame la Présidente, mes chers collègues. Je voudrais tout d'abord m'adresser à Sandro GOZI, le remercier sincèrement au nom du groupe Renew pour sa présence, mais aussi pour son soutien dans la durée à notre comité des régions. Je n'oublie pas que lorsqu'il exerçait des fonctions gouvernementales, il avait souhaité solliciter l'avis du comité des régions sur la politique migratoire européenne. Ce sommet Union européenne-Royaume-Uni doit intervenir à un moment très particulier dans un contexte international qui fera évidemment une obligation de la convergence sur les questions de défense, un sujet qui s'impose entre les 27 et nos voisins britanniques pour une coopération renforcée. C'est aussi un moment qu'a choisi le Premier ministre britannique pour proposer, selon ses mots, une réinitialisation de notre relation. Alors je parle aussi en tant que voisin des côtes anglaises, en tant que vice-président d'une région limitrophe du Royaume-Uni, la région Hauts-de-France, et en tant que maire de Saint-Omer. Je souhaite tout simplement que cette réinitialisation, ce nouveau départ, s'adresse d'abord à nos peuples, qu'il nous permette de nous retrouver. Oui, mes chers collègues, le Brexit, c'est un mur qui ne dit pas son nom. Et notre groupe souhaite que ce mur cesse de nous compliquer nos réunions, nos déplacements, nos coopérations. Dans 3 jours, je me rendrai dans le Kent, à Deal. C'est notre ville jumelle depuis 50 ans. Je dois m'assurer de ne pas oublier mon passeport. Je dois bien sûr payer désormais une nouvelle taxe. Ce n'est peut-être pas grand-chose pour moi, mais c'est ce qui a conduit finalement à réduire à 0 tout simplement le nombre de voyages scolaires qui, lorsque j'étais enfant, venaient tout simplement signifier un horizon pour tous les élèves de ma ville. Alors ce sommet doit aussi aborder les questions de mobilité des jeunes. Il doit aussi traiter de la coopération entre régions limitrophes. Ce comité des régions avait milité pour la création de la réserve d'ajustement au Brexit, précisément pour accompagner les régions de l'Union européenne limitrophes qui seraient les plus impactées par cette nouvelle frontière dure. Il faut réfléchir ensemble à un nouvel Interreg post-2027 avec un financement du côté des Britanniques. C'est aussi cet esprit de coopération qui doit guider nos négociations sur la pêche. Ce qui s'est passé dans la nuit du 14 janvier dernier, l'agression d'un bateau de pêche boulonné par un navire anglais est tout simplement inacceptable. Il est de la responsabilité de nos représentants politiques de trouver les voies qui vont permettre de retrouver un climat aparté. Il en est de la pérennité de la filière européenne. Boulogne-sur-Mer, c'est le premier port de pêche français, mais c'est aussi le premier centre européen de transformation des produits de la mer. Alors, cher Alun Davis, merci pour ce discours. Et je tiens simplement à te dire que j'espère, avec tous les membres du groupe Renew, pouvoir te dire un jour, au sein du Comité européen des régions, au sein des institutions de l'européenne, non pas comme invité, mais comme membre à part entière de la famille européenne, welcome back, Croatia and all.
Thank you very much. The floor goes now to Ilpo Heltimoinen. Please keep the time.
Hyvät kollegat, arvoisa puheenjohtaja, vaikka Britannia ei enää ole Euroopan unionin jäsen, on selvää, että molemmat osapuolet hyötyisivät suuresti yhteistyön syventämisestä, joka tulisi aloittaa paikallistasolla. Nykyisessä epävakaassa geopoliittisessa tilanteessa, erityisesti Venäjän aiheuttaman yhteisen uhan aikana, meidän on edettävä pragmaattisemmin ja yhteisen edun mukaisesti. Meidän on edelleen kehitettävä Euroopan unionin ja Britannian välistä suhdetta erityisesti aloilla, joilla voimme yhdessä olla vahvoja, kuten energiaomavaraisuus, varmuus, puolustus ja teknologia. Yhteistyö näillä aloilla voi vain parantaa kollektiivista resilienssiämme. Se on myös vahva viesti kansainväliselle yhteisölle siitä, että Brexitistä huolimatta Euroopan unioni ja Britannia ovat edelleen sitoutuneita yhteisiin arvoihin. Tämä yhteistyö ei edellytä täydellistä yhteydenmukaisuutta. kaikilla politiikan aloilla, vaan se edellyttää pragmaattista ja hyötypainotteista lähestymistapaa, jossa kunnioitetaan eroavaisuuksiamme ja asetetaan etusijalle yhteinen turvallisuutemme ja teknologinen kilpailukykymme. Yhteistyön olisi kuitenkin mentävä pidemmälle kuin pelkästään korkean tason strategiat. Sen on lähdettävä liikkeelle ruohonjuuritasolta. Esimerkiksi opiskelijoiden, tutkijoiden, liikkuvuus-, kulttuuri- ja tiedekumppanuudet sekä yritys- ja matkailuyhteistyö tarjoavat valtavasti mahdollisuuksia. Paikallis- ja alueviranomaiset, jotka tekevät tiivistä yhteistyötä akateemisten laitosten ja tutkimuslaitosten kanssa, voivat olla edelläkävijöitä tällaisten aloitteiden edistämisessä. Valtiotasoa alemmalla tasolla on paljon mahdollisuuksia yhteistyöhön ja alueiden komitean ja Britannian yhteisryhmä voi toimia tässä keskeisenä komponenttina. Samaan aikaan taloudellisessa yhteistyössä on edelleen haasteita. Kauppa- ja yhteistyösopimus on perusta, mutta meidän on varmistettava, että se toimii kaikkien, erityisesti pienten ja keskisuurten yritysten hyväksi. Liiallinen byrokratia ja tullitarkastukset vahingoittavat suhteettomasti pienyrityksiä. Näiden prosessien meidän on vältettävä kaikkia rankaisuun perustuvia toimenpiteitä, joiden motiivina on Britannian päätös erota EU:sta. Yhdistämällä toimielimemme ja kansalaistemme voimat voimme muuttaa Brexitin jälkeisen haasteet yhteiseksi menestykseksi. Kiitos.
Kiitos. Caroline Duane.
Thanks, Madam President. As European Alliance Group welcomed resetting the EU-UK relationship, this is a positive development. From an Irish perspective, fostering greater cooperation and exchange between the EU and UK is necessary, not only for collective prosperities and resilience, but it is also crucial to maintaining peace on the island of Ireland. The Irish case demonstrates how cooperation affects local communities within and outside the EU, thus highlighting the urgent need to bolster cross-border relations. This cooperation needs to extend across all social and economic aspects of our lives. Secondly, in a time of global uncertainty, there is a clear need for working together. There cannot be a situation where different tariffs are levied for exports from the same island. We hope that the EU Trade Commissioner will take this into consideration in negotiating with the US. My final point is a plea to those in power for our young people who have been affected by Brexit. I believe that all young people should be allowed to study, work and live across the EU and the UK. The youth of today are our future, and hopefully by fostering their free movement we can build a future of strong cooperation. I wish everyone success with the summit next week. Gaurav Mahagot.
Thank you very much. The floor goes now Dan Boyle.
Thank you, Madam President. And indeed, the relationship between the UK and the European Union has been enhanced and reset, and we should welcome that. As has been said by previous speakers, Ireland has been a particular beneficiary of that. The efforts of the EU to secure an effective agreement through the Windsor Agreement has allowed the economy on the island of Ireland not only to be protected but be enhanced, and economic activity has increased as a result. But as we refine this relationship and we seek to improve it, it has to be based on local and regional governments working more and more with each other. We need to find replacements and enhance programmes such as the Interreg programme, which has proved so successful in the past and has allowed local and regional governments to adopt best practices and highest standards through that cooperation between countries. As with other speakers, I also have a concern that the threat that does exists in relation to an impending trade agreement between the US and the UK. And we need to be wary not only because of the differential in tariffs. There's a very real risk that the United States will be insisting through a trade agreement with the United Kingdom to have a relaxation on food imports and the practices of excessive hormone use in beef production, the chlorination of chicken and the type of food standards that we in Europe do not accept and cannot accept. And I would urge British colleagues to make sure that whatever agreement is reached does not accept those standards, because it's important that the role of the consumers and the citizens in Europe is understood in this regard. Finally, I think we should be looking towards a relationship where we not only recognise what we have in common, but where highest standards need to be applied is our shared commitment towards the climate crisis and how we collectively protect international agreements such as the Conference of the Parties, particularly the Paris Agreement, and as a partner country, a neighbouring country.
Please wrap up.
The boundaries and the borders are meaningless in this context. I'm optimistic for that future. We should be optimistic for the future. It can only work if we work together.
Thank you very much. I'm closing now the debate. I will give back the floor to Sandro GOZI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to all the speakers. I would conclude emphasizing three messages. First, with my friend François de Costet, we are talking about this debate half an hour ago, and I was praising. I live in Paris. I was praising the fact that after all, the Eurostar train under the Channel, through a tunnel, is still there, and Paris and London are still bound together. But he was rightly saying, no, we have to get out of the tunnel, and we have to build up new bridges. And I think that this should be the spirit of your intervention, that a tunnel under the Channel that unify two big international capitals is not enough. And that our duty, together, with your help, member of the European Parliament, member of the Committee of the Regions, we have to rebuild bridges across the Channel between EU citizens and UK citizens. That means among Europeans. That's the first message. The second message is that we have to look at the future. And I hope that the summit will look at the future. Looking at the future means looking at youth. This summit must be the summit where we provide new opportunities to our young people. Because, if in 10 years we won't have done anything, the young people will have forgotten about EU or UK. They won't even remember that UK once upon a time used to be a member of the European Union. This is what we are risking, and we cannot run this risk. So, future means youth, future means innovation and artificial intelligence. I'm proposing to our British friend to create a forum on artificial intelligence between EU and UK. I don't think it will be in this summit. It must be in the next summit, and we must work together for this, because this is a way to build up the future together. You were talking about the local dimension, which is missing of the summit. I have to say that also the parliamentary dimension is missing of the summit. We have a very good president of the European Council, my friend Antonio Costa, but nobody's perfect. The president of the European Council refused the initiative to be present as a member of the Parliamentary Assembly at the UK summit. I think that we need to be much more creative than this. And that the new partnership cannot be left to the executive of the institutions, must be also our partnership, your partnership, and the partnership of the European Parliament. So I hope that Antonio Costa will change his mind at the next summit. And then I will end up also inspired by our friend Davis. Who knows in the future? Who knows what is going to happen in the future? Who knows that in the future we'll hear again, without lacking of respect to our Irish friend here, but some good British, UK, English, Scottish, or even Welsh accent as we had heard today. I think that this would be a very good development for our future. As the Beatles used to sing, you might think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, nobody's perfect. I'm reminded that every day.